Breaking news today.
Please subscribe and then check notification box to get all breaking news alerts.
As people all around the world continue to be victimized by the practitioners of Islam, liberals keep idiotically arguing to bring more third-world migrants to America. Places where Muslim migrants have allowed to invade bear little resemblance to the all-American neighborhoods they once were, where locations like Minnesota and Michigan are constantly making headlines for the barbarism that refugees are carrying out on the infidel populace. With Sharia patrols, female genital mutilation, and even the rape and murder of whites becoming increasingly more common as Muslims try to take over our country, an urgent warning is now being issued to women all across America, after the disturbing new trend of crime is popping up in our country's biggest metropolitan cities. Utilizing Uber services is becoming a common way for people to travel, as it's much more economical than calling a taxi. But leave it to Muslims to find a new way to exploit American women and our way of life. According to reports, a Muslim driver sexually assaulted a woman on American University campus in Washington, D.C. last week, but chillingly, a new pattern is emerging of Muslim drivers sexually assaulting their women passengers, as these women make incredibly easy prey. According to Breitbart, authorities arrested Dal Singerly, 36, of Springfield, Virginia, and charged him with felony first-degree sexual abuse, OP reports. DC's Metropolitan Police said that the incident took place Sunday morning between 3:20 a.m. and 3:50 a.m. at a building near the center of campus. At approximately 3:23 a.m., the victim received a ride, in what she believed was a vehicle for hire, from the suspect. When the suspect arrived at the listed location, he ordered the victim to exit the vehicle and then sexually assaulted her, DC's Metropolitan Police said in a statement. Police say the 21-year-old victim got into an argument with her boyfriend after a night of drinking when Singerly booted the boyfriend from his vehicle and raped the victim with an unknown body part. Uber told WUSA that the suspect used to work for the ride-sharing company, but Uber permanently banned him from driving for the app 2 years ago. Police say that, although Singerly was not authorized to drive for Uber, he kept an Uber sticker on his Honda Civic. Authorities do not believe that the suspect and the victim knew each other. Other Uber drivers, and people who have posed as Uber drivers, have allegedly committed sex crimes against passengers. An Uber driver from Massachusetts, who was in the country illegally, skipped town in May after he allegedly raped a female college student on 3 occasions. In that same month, a man in Rhode Island allegedly posed as an Uber driver to sexually assault a 15-year-old girl. In August, a Chicago Uber driver was arrested after he allegedly locked his 19-year-old victim in his car and demanded sex from her in lieu of payment for the ride. This disturbing trend comes mere weeks after what's believed to be Muslim-led human trafficking rings are popping up across our country. In the Muslim-infested city of Minneapolis, women and children are disappearing off the streets at an unprecedented rate. 74 abduction cases were reported in that city just this year, leaving the FBI and local authorities completely frazzled. The Quran is very explicit to its followers on what they're expected to do to the infidel. Rape and taking women as slaves are both tenets of Islam, so it should come as no surprise that Muslims would continue to practice this aspect of their religion after arriving to America, while using the sob story of escaping their war-torn countries to guilt Americans into opening their communities to them. According to the religion of peace, Islam neither ignores nor condemns slavery. In fact, a large part of the Sharia is dedicated to the practice. Muslims are encouraged to live in the way of Muhammad, who was a slave owner and trader. He captured slaves in battle, he had sex with his slaves, and he instructed his men to do the same. The Quran actually devotes more verses to making sure that Muslim men know they can keep women as sex slaves, than it is to telling them to pray 5 times a day. 0. Abducting women, as in the case of this Uber driver and with the current human trafficking epidemic, fall in line directly with Muhammad's teachings. In fact, acts like these are actively encouraged throughout the Quran. Quran, 33 hours 50 minutes, O Prophet. We have made lawful to thee thy wives to whom thou hast paid their dowers, and those slaves, whom thy right hand possesses out of the prisoners of war whom Allah has assigned to thee. This is one of several personal sounding verses from Allah narrated by Muhammad, in this case allowing a virtually unlimited supply of sex partners. Other Muslims are restricted to 4 wives, but they may also have sex with any number of slaves, following the example of their Prophet. Quran 23-56, who abstain from sex, except with those joined to them in the marriage bond, or the captives, whom their right hands possess. This verse permits the slave owner to have sex with his slaves. See also Quran, 70 hours 29 minutes -30. The Quran is a small book, so if Allah used valuable space to repeat the same point 4 times, sex slavery must be very important to him. He was relatively reticent on matters of human compassion and love. Quran 4:24, and all married women are forbidden unto you, save those captives, whom your right hands possess. Even sex with married slaves is permissible. Quran 8:69, but now enjoy what ye took in war, lawful and good, a reference to war booty, of which slaves were a part. The Muslim slave master may enjoy his catch because, according to verse 71, Allah gave you mastery over them. Quran 24:32, and marry those among you who are single and those who are fit among your male slaves and your female slaves. Breeding slaves based on fitness. Quran 2-178, O ye who believe! Retaliation is prescribed for you in the matter of the murdered, the freeman for the freeman, and the slave for the slave, and the female for the female. The message of this verse, which prescribes the rules of retaliation for murder, is that all humans are not created equal. The human value of a slave is less than that of a free person, and a woman's worth is also distinguished from that of a man. Quran 16:75, Allah sets forth the parable of 2 men, one, a slave under the dominion of another, he has no power of any sort, and the other, a man on whom we have bestowed goodly favors from ourselves, and he spends thereof, freely, privately and publicly. Are the 2 equal? By no means, praise be to Allah. Yet another confirmation that the slave is not equal to the master. In this case, it is plain that the slave owes his status to Allah's will. According to 16:71, the owner should be careful about insulting Allah by bestowing Allah's gifts on slaves, those whom the God of Islam has not favored. Be sure to share this story. American women in our country need to be more vigilant than ever, as Muslims are becoming increasingly brazen in their efforts to force their barbaric religion practices on us. If you're calling an Uber, it might be a good idea to check the driver's name before hopping into the vessel. And if you live in heavily Muslim-populated areas, it might be an even better idea to never leave your house without the necessary means to protect yourself.